Folks, this is a core. But before I start, I think the word is disclaimer. I guess that's what I'm putting out here right now, is a disclaimer. You see, when folks study stuff and accumulate knowledge, well, the passed on knowledge is what I'm saying. Someone assumes that what they're learning is, that's my disclaimer. I'm not saying nothing. I'm not trying to change nothing. I'm just questioning. It's like, hey, what if, and usually the folks that go, what if, they get their ass kicked for bringing it up. Because they go, well, it's not the generally accepted, it's been, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, let me get back to trying to talk. Okay, this is a core. It's obviously a core. It's been sliced. Tools have come from it. And all that. Okay, I have several tools that I can see. Let me change the light just a bit. Okay, that I can see obviously came from these little peaks. They sliced them, just whack, 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 and they made all kinds of tools from them. Now, when you change the light a bit again, when you take a little piece like that and knock it off, it could be that long. Anyway, they sort of look like this. They have a triangular, and this one is flat on both sides. See, it even stands up real good. When that's taken off the side of a stone, they look generally like that. That angle, that shape is what I'm trying to say. They look like that. Now, you folks know, I don't know diddly about points. I don't know the history, and I don't care. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that this stone is wider at the bottom than it is at the top. Now, this point or whatever it is, knife or spear, whatever, this is wider. My light is awful. Okay, let's try that. It's wider at the bottom. And this one is wider at the bottom. Now this would have been longer a little bit. I can feel this was broken off. It's wider at the bottom. This one is sort of that way. It's wide at the bottom, and also the thickness of it makes me think that these folks was using this right here to make those points. It'd be wider at the bottom. Now, these two add another question. These two have a fluted place right up through here. It's not on both sides. Generally, it's on, well, I can't say generally because these are only two that I've ever found. It makes me question the whole process. It's the process, is what I'm trying to say, of making the point. and the flute that I think they start with something like this, which came from a core. Now, I'm just thinking out loud, I don't know. A piece like that. Now, if they were to make the flute first, it'd be a whole bunch easier because a good napper could finish this off and get a nice point that would be wider at the bottom and it would have a flute. All I'm saying is, why not just make the flute first? Instead of creating it and then trying to take a sliver. I don't know. It just don't seem logical the way I have heard it explained. Mostly because I continue to see tools and such made out of that particular shape of stone. Okay. Folks, when I get interested in something, I do a study to find out if any of those ideas will fit together in a puzzle. And I know I don't explain things very well, but I did do research on everything I'm about to say. Anyway, imagine that at the maximum ice came down, they say even the top of Kansas. Then the warming caused the ice to go back higher, and the melting of the ice formed huge lakes everywhere. The further it went back, the more lakes was formed that could easily burst a cork and go. Now, I've been to this place, Poplar Bluff, and as soon as you leave there, you drop down into the Mississippi River Valley, and the Mississippi River right now is just a trickle compared to what this valley had been formed by, water flooding, huge floods, maybe a river that wide at one time. And these lakes that drained, the evidence of them can be seen not in just the valleys that they made, but the fan-shaped debris that's, when you use LiDAR, you can see that fan shape of debris of flooding goes out thousands of miles. And okay, I'll leave this subject alone for just a minute, but it's concerning floods. When these things, well, this flood formed the the scablands. That much water flooding into the ocean would have caused enormous tsunamis, which would have affected everybody in the world, coastline. And that's one way that civilizations that could build up for 1,000 years or so along coastlines, they can be completely wiped out with meters, hundreds of feet of water come out of the blue. Anyway, we'll leave that for a while. Okay, my interest is in rocks. Now, I wanted to, yeah, right. This ice shelf, as it was melting back and formed these lakes, this tundra or whatever, people live there. I mean, the people could adapt to anything. For example, this is the pre-Dorset, the pre-Inuit. These folks live on the ice, have lived there for thousands of years. They adapted. They figured out how to do it. So, my interest in stones is that, let's say this was a big old lake and it would have been surrounded by people. It had fish in it. Somehow fish get there. This enormous lake would have had several, whatever, villages or whatever. It would have had people around it. And when this cork come out, there'd be people standing on a shelf watching their lake drain. And they go, wow, I hope nobody's in the way down there when that water comes down there. But wow, I'm glad I'm up here on this hill. And they live there. And whenever you get a big group of people together, there's always an artist among them. And those artists would have recorded that massive flood. Now I'm finding stones down there in Missouri. But I would like to see stones that are along the areas, where people was living, where the flood did not affect them, even though they maybe a mile away. Anyway, I said that. And the lightning flashed, and the thunder roared, when my eyes met hers, and my horse met hers, when the prairies were free, and we had miles to roam, and long hours till evening, before we both had to ride home. I remember her wave goodbye, and the blown kiss in the wind. I remember the first time we met. I remember my first girlfriend.